All right, we're doing a reading right now. This is a request from the Patreon page, and I want to take a look at the potential of a nuclear strike outside of the war zone. And I think after this, we'll kind of look at terror attacks in general outside of the war zone. But specifically, right now, we're looking at a potential nuclear strike. And let's just see what we get. Okay, so the root card is the Knight of Wands, and this would be an impulsive energy. And the main card is the King of Swords. Well, right away, these two would kind of be at odds with each other because the King of Swords is a very tactful military commander, and the Knight of Wands is an impulsive soldier. Um, I would assume that any King of Swords, any nuclear strike, you wouldn't figure that that would come from someone who had intellect and sense, right? Because there's no good outcome of that. But that kind of thing could come from an impulsive soldier. Let's just see what else we have around this King of Swords. They're both military cards, right? So this is definitely showing military energy. Let's just see what we got. I need to find out why this 5 is upside down. And we have yet another soldier. Okay, so we have 2 knights and a king. On one side of the King of Swords is the 5 of Pentacles, and the 5 of Pentacles is someone who definitely does not have abundance. Now, the thing about terrorism is it's not an ideology, it's not a philosophy, it's a tactic by a group of people who don't have the same type of resources as the people that they're fighting. Now, I'm assuming that that's what we're seeing here is a group of people, and it's probably talking about people who have been forced from their home. Looking at the 5, because here we have the person walking around like homeless or whatever. Now, then we have the King of Swords, and I'm guessing the King of Swords is kind of like looking at them. And on the other side of the King of Swords, we have this 5 of Wands upside down. Now, the 5 of Wands is a whole bunch of people fighting each other. And I mean, this might be talking about the World War, but if that's the case, there are more than 2 sides, right? This is a bunch of fucking different sides that are kind of fighting against each other. And that does make sense when we look at the reason this is reversed. We have a Knight of Cups. Now, actually, now that I look at this a little closer, theoretically, the reversed 5 of Wands is about chaos that kind of runs its course and sort of ends. It's like kind of a peace that happens after a chaotic situation. And theoretically, even though we're looking at a soldier here because it is a knight card, the Knight of Cups might be talking about more of a spiritual soldier. So maybe this is showing some sort of holy warrior, right, that would maybe try to keep the nuclear thing from happening. So maybe, like, even if it looks like it might happen here between the tactical King of Swords and then the impulsive soldiers that, I mean, would probably be considered terrorists or use terrorist tactics, here there's a third party. And this is, the Knight of Cups, the spiritual seeker. Maybe they're trying to broker a peace or trying to do something to create it. Now, there's nothing in here that specifically shows a nuclear strike, which is kind of what we're looking at. So I guess I'm going to ask just a straight up yes or no. Will there be a nuclear strike outside of the war zone? And a Four of Cups would say no. So that's good news. This looks like there's definitely war, right? So we've got these two parties here, and I'm assuming that this would be showing at least an extension of Israel and Palestine. But then we have this third one, and I think the third one might be trying to create some sort of peace. Maybe. But when we look at whether or not there will be a straight up nuclear strike, the Four of Cups is saying no. Now, this would probably show some terrorist activity. So let's take a look at that. Terrorist attacks in general, because 9/11 wasn't a nuclear attack, but it was pretty big as far as those things go. So let's just look at other terrorist attacks outside of the war zone, and if we're about to be seeing those. The Ten of Cups, the happy reunited family. So normally you wouldn't think so, that would be showing some sort of terror attack, but it might be showing Russia, because the Soviet Union. I mean, that's kind of the vibe I get when I see it. So let's just see what the hell else we got going on here. A Six of Pentacles. I mean, it would pretty much show a waste of resources. And this is par for the course with the situation in Russia, because, there's so many resources that are being thrown at that. And the only thing that happens is a bunch of people get killed. But politically, there really isn't anything moving either way there. So let's just see. I'm going to pull one more to see if we have any sort of more specific shit on the terrorist route here. We get a reversed Five of Swords, and this is basically insult. After it usually happens after someone has kind of given up or surrendered. This is like being kicked when you're down. But looking at this, I do not think that this is showing dire terrorist attacks. I think that it's probably showing more about the Russian situation. And I mean, you could argue that things that are on the par, at least with terrorist attacks, happen there all the time. But they wouldn't be considered terrorist attacks because it's a freaking war zone, right? Although I guess it hasn't really been happening inside of Russia itself. It's pretty much been happening in Ukraine. I'm just going to pull a card on whether or not there is a targeted attack toward Russia, and a yes or no. So the star actually would probably show a yes. Let's see here. Are we looking at a straight up terrorist attack against Russia? Yes, and something about underground. Boy. All right. I'm going to collect these because it's kind of vague. I don't think that any of those were so fucking strong that I'm saying that there's going to be a huge attack. But let's just shuffle these and look at it again. Is there going to be a terrorist attack in Russia? wow. All right. The Four of Pentacles. So here we have someone with a great deal. This is like having a lot of resources and everything. It's like a rich dude. And he's about to walk through the portal. And he doesn't want to, because if he does, he will become the naked truth of himself. And that's literally what is being shown in the Hermit. And we do have even the arch that connects between both cards. But what the hell is this talking about? I think maybe that this might be talking more about a financial attack, because here we have someone who is rich, fancy clothes, all that, and they don't want to move through here. But like on the other side in the Hermit, they got no clothes, right? They got nothing. And if this was a person coming to me for a reading, this would be a very valuable time to remember who they are, right? This is how you remember who you are, what you are here to do without the distraction of all the stupid shit, all of the material shit. And here, I think that's what this is showing for Russia. So I think if there is a terrorist attack in Russia, that it is maybe like a cyber attack or some sort of financial fucking thing. And it would kind of strip away a lot of the resources. And I wonder if that happens on both sides. Let's see if this affects America too. And the Ace of Cups would say yes. Now, if we go back earlier into that sort of third soldier, the Knight of Cups, that's like a spiritual, more of a holy, like healer type energy. And maybe that's how they try to stop the war, is just a massive financial attack. So then nobody has enough resources to continue with the war. That would be interesting. Oh, geez, I just had two of them fall down as I was saying that. So thinking about this massive financial attack, what we get are two cards that I wouldn't really necessarily read into this, but we get the Page of Wands and the Four of Wands reversed, and those may be nothing at all. So let's just collect those here. All right, so a potential financial attack, a big one, right? Let's just see what I haven't asked, what the cards want me to know about any of this stuff. So we get the Sun. All right. This is shameless expression of truth. It might be talking about summer. What else do we get? A reversed High Priestess. Well, okay. If this is talking about summer, keep in mind there are two hemispheres of, the northern and southern hemisphere. So summer in the northern hemisphere is winter in the southern hemisphere. And if this is like some kind of a timeline or something, then it could still be showing like the winter solstice, even though it's showing up as the sun. But I guess gut instinct is just showing this is talking about summer, maybe like a fucking heat wave or something like that. And the reversed High Priestess, this is just sort of energy that is normally hidden, but then it gets exposed. So, maybe if this is talking about a cyber attack, that might be what this is showing too, is just a bunch of energy that is normally hidden that gets exposed, like Julian Assange and Ed Snowden, right? And maybe that's what the Sun is talking about, is just this fucking truth being blasted out there. So I guess time will tell. But overall, as we look at this, I don't think that we need to worry about a nuclear attack happening. Now, keep in mind, I have been asking about outside of the war zones. So let's just see if there's going to be a fucking nuclear attack inside the war zones, because that wouldn't be any better, right? And again, we get this reversed 5. I think there are more telling cards. This is just insult to injury, right? But I don't think this is talking about a nuclear weapon being deployed. We'll pull one more on it, and we get a 3 of cups. So again, I'm just not reading nuclear strike in here. So that seems to be good news. So that's what we have here. If there's something that you want me to do a reading on, or if you want me to look at any of these from other angles, please check out my Patreon page. It's Tarot by Fergus on Patreon. And for as little as $5 a month, I will do the readings that you want me to do and look at them from other angles or whatever. That's what we have for now, and peace.